What is up, my friends? It's Ray back here, and a few days ago I shared with you guys my review of Logitech's new Combo Touch case for iPad Pro. I bought this case impulsively based on the glowing reviews that I was seeing, and it did not disappoint. The Combo Touch is everything that I was looking for when I was researching new keyboard cases for my iPad Pro. In fact, it turned out to be one of the most versatile keyboard cases that I've ever owned during my 3 years with this iPad. Some of you guys who watched that video though were still curious how the Combo Touch stacks up against Apple's own Magic Keyboard, so I figured we would do a quick comparison today. Let's get to it. Right out of the gate, I'm going to say it, the Combo Touch is the better keyboard case of the two. Not only is it cheaper and made with better materials, but the versatility and the protection that you get with the Combo Touch far outweighs anything that the Magic Keyboard can physically do. I mean, you can detach your iPad from the keyboard, flip open the kickstand, and use your iPad as an external display via sidecar with your Mac. That is pretty sweet. Not only that, but it pairs instantly via the iPad Pro Smart Connector and has a row of function keys above the keyboard, which is huge. You can probably already tell that I'm a bit biased towards the Combo Touch, and that's for good reason. This keyboard case is excellent. I promise you guys though, the Magic Keyboard still holds its own and is very much worth it in its own right. I've been using the Magic Keyboard for well over a year now with my iPad Pro, and it is an excellent keyboard case. It's a bit more compact than the Combo Touch, has better viewing angles, an extra USB-C port for charging, plus if your goal is to make your iPad as close to a laptop replacement as possible, I would actually recommend the Magic Keyboard over the Combo Touch. Outside of form factor, the main difference between these two cases is the price. They certainly are not cheap. The Combo Touch retails for $199 for the 11-inch iPad Pro and $229 for the 12.9-inch iPad Pro. The Magic Keyboard is more expensive at $299 for the 11-inch iPad Pro and $349 for the 12.9-inch iPad Pro. The Combo Touch is cheaper than the Magic Keyboard, making it perfect for those on a tighter budget. Since these are both premium expensive keyboard cases though, you really have to think ahead a little bit to a year or two down the line and visualize how you're going to be using your iPad over time. That should make deciding which case to get a little bit easier. Both these keyboards weigh about the same and they have very similar thickness, though the Magic Keyboard is slightly heavier due to all the magnets inside. I will say that I'm a huge fan of the material used on the Combo Touch. Maybe that's why I'm a bit biased towards it. I just love the fabric finish on this case. You can feel how solid and well built it is. On the flip side, while I do think the Magic Keyboard is a little more aesthetically pleasing, it's made out of the same material used on Apple's other smart keyboard folio, so it marks up very easily. This thing is going to show smudges, it's going to scratch up. It's just near impossible to keep the Magic Keyboard looking in tip-top shape. Another advantage that you get with the Combo Touch is full protection around the iPad Pro itself. The edges of the case are rubberized, so whether you're using it with the keyboard attached or removing it to use as a tablet, your iPad is always protected, giving you some much needed peace of mind knowing that you're protecting your expensive investment. Protection and build quality aside, I know you guys want to know the difference in typing between both of these keyboards. Well, they're actually surprisingly much more similar than they are different. Both these keyboards have backlit keys, they're comfortable to type on, the keys are nice and mushy with solid travel. Both the Combo Touch and the Magic Keyboard are a true joy to type on. The Magic Keyboard does have a slight advantage here since it feels a little more like a desktop keyboard with deeper keys, but I don't think it's worth the extra $100. I can type very quickly on both of these keyboards, but I like the feeling of the Combo Touch a bit better. It also has a row of function keys along the top to navigate around iPad OS. Those keys are surprisingly very useful. Beneath each of the keyboards, each case has a multi-touch trackpad. Both are responsive, clicky, and work with all the gestures that you're familiar with on Macs and iPads. Aside from the size, there's really no difference in performance. They both work as you would expect a trackpad to work. From the center all the way over to the corners, these things work great. Another major difference between the two cases is of course versatility. The Magic Keyboard makes your iPad Pro more along the lines of a laptop, whereas the Combo Touch takes things a bit further with its detachable keyboard. It's great for sketching, writing, or even, as I mentioned before, before, using your iPad as an external display via sidecar with your Mac. The versatility that you get with the Combo Touch is just unbelievably useful. I think the versatility just makes this case so much better than the Magic Keyboard. So there you guys have it, a quick comparison between the Logitech Combo Touch and Apple's Magic Keyboard. I know it probably seemed a little one-sided, but outside of the compactness, viewing angle, and even extra USB-C port, it's tough for me to find a major advantage that the Magic Keyboard has over the Combo Touch, especially at its more expensive price point. Both these keyboards are solid cases, but it's the Combo Touch that outshines the Magic Keyboard. I can't help but feel like this is the new standard to beat for iPad Pro keyboard cases. It gives the iPad Pro quote-unquote wings to fly, as I like to say. With the Combo Touch, you are not limited to using your iPad Pro one way like you are with the Magic Keyboard. There is so much that you can do with a versatile case like the Combo Touch. Open it up, boom, you got a nice case here with a detachable keyboard. So that's about it for this comparison, guys. I hope you enjoyed it and found it helpful. If you did and you liked what you saw, be sure to give it a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button because it always helps out the channel. And until the next one, I'll catch you guys later. Peace.